David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto. Well, folks, I have an update for you on the bizarre case of Lejla Blazevic. Now, you might recall that some 10 days ago, Lejla was on her way to one of those Queen's Park Saturday demonstrations. She asked somebody directions to Queen's Park, a person who was standing outside of Women's College Hospital, and incredibly, once this person knew that Lejla was going to be part of the demonstration, she responded with violence. Just despicable. Well, guess what? In addition to the video footage and photograph, we now have a name for that person, and perhaps somebody out there can tip us off as to who indeed this person is, because I'd sure like to ask her some questions. Fundamentally, why is it you think it's okay to respond with violence to someone who has a differing political opinion? Lejla, as I said in the introduction, we finally have a name to match the face of the person who assaulted you. Almost 2 weeks ago, you were on your way to one of those protests at Queen's Park. This is the protest where people are demanding Premier Ford open the economy as in fully. You saw a lady near a Women's College Hospital. You asked for directions, and then what happened?
She asked me if I'm going to the protest, and I said yes. And she said, well, if you're going to the protest, I'm not going to tell you where Queen's Park is. She started swearing at me, calling me names, saying that I'm an irresponsible mother because I am taking my children to get exposed to the virus or spread the virus or something like that. She ran up to me, threw her coffee all over me, on my hair, my face. She got all her strength together. She was shoving me around. Her daughter punched me in the head. My glasses flew off. She was trying to get away, and I stood in front of her car. I told her she needs to wait for the police, and that's when a man came out of the hospital, and as she started driving towards me, he told her, "You don't want to do that, stop," and she stopped. So we stood like that for about 30 minutes, and we waited for the police. And when the police came, they charged her with assault and assault with weapon.
Now we actually know the name of the person. It is Deanna Harper. And it's incredible, Lejla, this story to me, because you were simply asking directions to Queen's Park. You weren't trying to force your opinions on her.
Well, yes, I was definitely not interested in physically or violently trying to persuade someone to take my opinion.
The police are very confident Women's College Hospital, with their surveillance camera, probably captured the entire assault in its entirety. Detective I was emailing on the case, it seems like a very nice guy, Detective Ward. They've reached out to the hospital to get those, to get that video, and incredibly, it looks like they're going to have to actually issue a warrant for the hospital to release this footage. You were saying off camera there might be an added charge because at one point it looked as though she was going to try to hit you with her car, and that might be the third charge that she'll face in addition to assault and assault with a weapon.
The detective has said that he needs to first watch the surveillance video, and then he's going to decide if there are going to be any further charges laid.
And speaking of charges, Lejla, I'm going to read the email, a part of the email that Detective Ward sent to me, because it's in regard to the woman's teenage daughter who sucker punched you, of course, knocking her glasses off. She has no charges. And he says, and I'm kind of scratching my head about this, in this incident, it is hard to find unprovoked aggressive intent with a young person who is witnessing their own parents' assaultive behavior toward another. And like I say, the adult has been addressed with serious charges. It's odd, Lejla, because I know we have in this country the Criminal Youth Justice Act. There are different penalties. There are different rules in terms of identifying young offenders in the media. I get that. What I don't get is the fact that, for whatever reason, there's no charges laid. Isn't it the job of a judge to decide whether to convict or let somebody go free as opposed to law enforcement?
Well, I think that considering the fact that my teenagers who were with me were the same size as her teenager, yet my teenagers didn't punch anybody, and I was the one being attacked, yet it was her daughter that punched me in the head. I believe if she's old enough to punch somebody, she should be held accountable for it.
I absolutely agree. And what kind of a message is that sending, that because of your age, you can act with impunity? Hey, listen, maybe she would have gotten off with a slap on the wrist, if that, but still, there should have been a charge because clearly what she did to you was an act of assault. Now, the unfortunate irony of this is because of the assault, you never did get to go to the protest. You came much later. I have to tell you, Lejla, you missed a royal reception. So many people came up to us. They had seen the video. I think it, last time I looked, it had over 70,000 views. There is no shortage of big burly guys in Toronto that have offered for free their bodyguard services if you want to walk the streets of downtown Toronto. They want to embrace you in a safe way so that you never have to fear asking a stranger any kind of question again in Toronto. What do you think about that?
Well, my children are definitely going to be hard to persuade to come to another one of these protests after what happened. So that's the problem that I'm having right now. I would love to go there with them again. I watched videos of the protests and I think it was just beautiful. It was like a summer picnic the last couple of Saturdays because we had beautiful weather and I really wanted to make it that Saturday when I was trying to go there.
And again, I want to appeal to our viewers. If you know this person, Deanna Harper, the person who allegedly carried out this heinous attack, and you can tip us off in the Rebel Tips line, I would really appreciate it. It's not so much having a vendetta, folks. It's all about, I want to find out what makes someone like that tick. We're seeing this on an increasing fashion. We see Antifa thugs with weapons physically hitting people with a differing political view. And hey, who can ever forget Jordan Hunt? He's that fine gentleman who liked to go around kicking women and pushing women into live lanes of traffic just because they were pro-life. We don't want this to be the norm. We don't want the Jordan Hunts and the Deanna Harpers calling the shot when it comes to debate in the public square. So, Lejla, I guess we'll leave it at that. If we do find out where she is and we can scrum her for an interview, we'll pick it up again with the third part to this saga. And if not, I guess we'll just have to wait until she goes in front of a judge at a court, because I can't wait to cover this story.
Sounds good to me.
Hey folks, you may have heard there will be no summer camp for junior this year in Ontario, and that's just a crying shame after all. No one under 20 has died of the Wuhan virus, so why shut down the camps? If you feel like we do, please go to our new petition, opensummercamp.com, opensummercamp.com. I'm aiming to get 25,000 signatures, and I will deliver this petition personally to Premier Ford himself so he can hopefully undo this terrible decision.